Everybody, Mega Ruler 31 back here for FSi DFS. Sorry about no video yesterday. We had a couple technical difficulties, but as we always said, the surefire way to get information is to go into our description, sign up for our package for MLB. It's very, very low, very, very reasonable. You get every core for every slate. That's over like 3 games and, coaching help all the time. But some other things, as I always said, you can hit me up at Twitter, MegaRuler31, or just go back to our last video if for some reason we didn't get one out or it didn't post or there's a problem with it, and just drop a question there. Say, hey, can we get some your thoughts on today's slate, and or check back to that video, see if somebody already asked it, because that's usually where we'll leave some information for you. So we got 8 game slate for Sunday today. Lots of rain in the forecast, so a couple questionable games here. I think they'll all play out. I think maybe that Detroit and the Angels are probably going to be the scariest one. So we'll just have to see. But let's go through the games quickly and get you on your way for your Sunday. So we have Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. This one looks like an 80% chance of rain later on. So hopefully they get most of the game in. Mike Minor and Zach Thompson. We talk about taking pitchers against both these teams because they're really weak. Yesterday, Cincinnati put up a bunch of runs against BB. So, and they definitely, even though they're kind of scaled back a little bit, trading a bunch of people away and Votto out for the season, they actually still have a little bit of hitting power there. And it's actually in Pittsburgh, which is kind of surprising. I thought, they put up that many runs in Great American Ballpark at home, but it just goes to show that they can. But the wind's blowing in a little bit, wet weather here. So, I think the pitcher's a little bit risky here. Minor, I think I like as a cheap guy. I think he'd be my SP2 in a GPP. Thompson, I'm not really interested in. Like the Cincinnati bats, you probably go with the Pittsburgh bats too, if you think the weather holds up as cheap fill-ins for your stacks. Yankees and Blue Jays. Yankees continue to slump, not hitting, pitching. Actually, Garrett Cole struggled again yesterday, so just an enigma what's going on there. They put Cortez out there against Blue Jays today, and you have Manoah on the other side. So you've got Cortez, who's a really good lefty, but he's facing a pretty much right-handed lineup, so that doesn't look like it's going to work out well for him. And Manoah has been decent this season. I mean, he had a great inning in the All-Star game there, and he's been pretty good after that. And the Yankees, eventually, I think you got to think they're going to wake up and hit, but I don't know if today's going to be the day. So I think Manoah's definitely in play, and Cortez in the upper range. The total's low on this one; it's only a 7.5. Hopefully, it turns into a pitcher's duel and not a lot of runs. Wind is blowing in a Yankee Stadium 10 miles per hour. Doesn't look like they're going to get much rain there at all, maybe 20%, but that's at the end of the game. So I think we'll be fine weather wise. 86 degrees, so it'll be hot. So it could go either way. So I think this is GPP play. You play Cortez or Manoah in GPPs if you have a strong feeling against one of them shutting their team down, and you play Toronto or New York I'd go lean with Toronto more, just with the splits advantage there in GPP if you think they're going to put up some runs. Houston and the Braves, you have Urquidy against Morton. Urquidy struggled a little bit, kind of a reverse splits guy there. But this game looks like it's going to have a 70% chance of rain around 3 o'clock. And so about 2 hours into it. So I don't know if the pitchers are really going to be super safe here, but I really do like Charlie Morton on the other side. He's just been really good. And I know Houston's a tough matchup for them, but I think, with Alvarez out of the lineup again, banged up, and some of the players that they're look like they might be playing today, I think he's definitely in a good situation here. He's actually a favorite of -142 right now. They have a 4.3 total, and Houston always a 370. So Morton, I think, is my favorite play in the medium range. Urquidy, I'm not super interested in against this Braves lineup, but I think the Braves would be my third favorite stack of the day. Again, just keep the eye on the weather. This one, it could be fine. It's Atlanta, so it could just be pop-up stuff. And looked like there were threats yesterday, and it was the same situation. It was perfectly fine. It's just when it gets hot and humid during the summer, you just don't know when those showers are going to pop up. And I think that's what we're just trying to avoid today, but we could be fine. So just keep an eye on that. Mets and Phillies, weather looks fine here. Wind blowing out in Philadelphia, 9 miles per hour. You have Jose Butto getting the call up. They had a doubleheader yesterday, and they want to save Scherzer and DeGrom for their next series here. So it's probably going to be a bullpen game after him. That bullpen isn't bad, and Kyle Gibson on the other side. So I think Philly's going to be my top stack here against Buto, just because the weather's good, the wind's blowing out, and who knows, they had a doubleheader yesterday, so the the bullpen's probably used a little bit more than it has been recently. So I think we just a chance to take an advantage of that. Mets on the other side too. They put a bunch of runs yesterday on Nola, which was kind of unexpected. They're just a pesky matchup, and I think they're my favorite GPP stack against Gibson. Um, Angels in Detroit, you have Shohei Ohtani, who's got the best matchup on the slate. Obviously, a right-hander versus Detroit's a dream matchup, but this has the worst weather. Looks like 60 to 70 to 80% chance of rain through it, but maybe it comes later, maybe it gets pushed back, maybe it's just gonna be light rain and it's not going to be an issue. So again, keep your eye on the weather, but this is a game that scares me the most. So Ohtani should be the SP1 in cash, but he's more my SP1 in GPP just based on the weather. Eduardo Rodriguez, no way playing him with Trout back and some of the power righties in this lineup. Even though we hate stacking the Angels, I think they're starting to make more sense, become more relevant. Of course, you can't blow Ohtani because he's pitching today, so it takes him out of the stack, but it actually makes a pretty cheap stack with Trout to be able to play the Angels here. Love Renfroe, Luis, their second and third baseman on DK. He's just been really hot, playing a lot on Soler recently. He's really been paying off, putting up some points for me. So big fan of him. And Detroit on the other side would just be a leverage stack against Ohtani. Next up, we have the Royals in Tampa Bay. Zach Greinke, kind of a reverse blitz guy, 0 strikeout guy against Tampa Bay, and Yarbrough on the other side. So not super keen on either one of these pitchers. They're low price, so if you're playing 150 max, then you have to keep them in your player pool because each one could have a decent game. Each one has had decent games, but offense is the same thing too. I like Tampa Bay against Greinke more than I like KC against Yarbrough, but I think KC could definitely be a cheap stack for you if you want to go there if you're multi-entering. Next up, we have Texas and Minnesota. We have Kohei Arihara against Joe Ryan. No interest in Arihara. I think Minnesota's the second favorite stack on the slate here. They almost have a 5 total, one of the highest totals on the slate. And Joe Ryan on the other side is a decent mid-range if you want to get a little savings off Morton or the weather's bad and you're afraid of Morton. The weather looks perfectly fine here, so definitely he's in play against Texas. Texas would just be a leverage stack if Ryan picks up ownership. In Minnesota, like I said, really like their matchup here. Final game is Brewers and Cubs. This one has a little bit of rain, about 30% chance. I think it's going to be more a nuisance thing, but I think the big news here is that the wind's blowing in, so that downgrades hitters. So really don't like Milwaukee more in the GPP stack or the Cubs more in the leverage stack, but Brandon Woodruff has got to be probably my top pitcher on the slate here, just with Ohtani and the weather situation. And Steele on the other side, I think definitely if you don't want to play minor in Pittsburgh where the weather might be a little bit worse, against Milwaukee, he is a lefty, and Milwaukee has some good right-handed batters here. Like Yelich can hit both sides, but with Adames, McCutchen, Renfroe, Briseño, Herrera, there's a lot of good power here against lefties. And the last lefty they faced, they put up a ton of runs on Wednesday, I believe, was against them. So, but with the wind blowing in, I think that might mitigate that a little bit. So I think Steele's definitely in play here, but he's not one of my favorites. So just to recap, Ohtani's definitely a top pitcher on the slate, but weather concerns have some as kind of my second in line today. Woodruff is the one I would pay up for. Cortez and Manoah, if you have a strong feeling on either one in GPP. Morton's my favorite mid-range guy, but again, weather concerns there. Ryan's really safe option off him. Quiddy and Gibson are there, but not super interested in those. Minor and Steele, again, in decent matchups, cheap pitchers here, but weather concerned. Yarbrough and Greinke, if you feel either way on those, and if you're multi-entering, it's fine. I'm fading Arihara from Texas, Erod from Detroit, Thompson from Pittsburgh, and Buta from the Mets. Top stacks are Philly, Minnesota, Atlanta, and Tampa Bay. GPP, Mets, Toronto, New York, if you have a feel on either one of those against the pitchers. Milwaukee with the wind blowing in. Cheap one, Cincinnati and Pittsburgh against marginal pitchers there, but the weather's concerned also. LA, KC, and then leverage stacks would just be Houston, Texas Rangers, the Cubs, and Detroit. So let's look at some builds to get you on your way for your day. So first up, we have, I said, taking Woodruff and Morton. I'm taking a 2-guy at catcher. Or 2K guy. If you don't do full Minnesota attacking, you take the Minnesota catcher. If not, I think Suzuki for the Angels is there also at 2K, or another cheap guy. I'm stacking Minnesota, so raise a Polanco, Correa, Buxton. If you need more salary, then go Gordon over Kepler. He's only 2K, opens up some things. And I think I'm filling in with Tampa Bay guys here. But then again, you can take whatever favorite one-offs you want in those two positions. Or if one of these guys isn't playing around, I think Reza is at third base. Maybe you get like a first baseman or something. So when you see the lineup, play around with it. If Buxton's not in, that opens up a lot. Then play Kepler or Gordon. You can get a really good player at third base and outfield to fill in your stack there. FanDuel, taking Woodruff again, Areza, and you can get the full Philadelphia and Minnesota stack here. The pricing works out for it for once. So yeah, just take Woodruff and Areza, Hoskin, or JT Realmuto, whoever you want at first base. Play the other one in your utility if you want to. Polanco, third base. Whoever fits in there, take a Minnesota guy or Philly guy. Correa, Buxton, Schwarber, then outfield. Again, you can take Castellanos, you can take Kepler, you can take Gordon. There's so many options to make this stack work. And, so stack it a couple ways. And I think those are the top two offenses on the day with a really good pitcher. I really, really, really like that. And finally, GPP for DK, Ohtani and Minor, taking the pitchers in the rain, risk there, stacking Philly here, JT, Hoskin, Renfroe. I'm going to fill in with cheaper Angels bats. I can't get up to Trout. If you can make it work, that's perfectly fine. If you come down off Ohtani and go like Morton or another pitcher there's your one, then and you can easily fit Trout in. Bomb at third base, Schwarber, and then again, fill in with Angels outfielders. Think Odell's 2K or Ward like fits in there too. Shortstop, you might just need to take a one off because I don't know if there's an Angel guy that works there. But you can get like Stott there for Philly or DJ Gregorius if he's in. I can't remember if he's injured or not, but there's options there. Finally, GPP for FanDuel has cores on it, so you can play the Rockies here, but I'm taking San Francisco again. They're against Freeland, the left-hander, so take the righty. So Flores, low. I'm Tampa Bay is my secondary stack, so low at second base. Longoria, JD, Davis at third base, shortstop, whoever you want to fit in there, or take one off. Slater, Arizona, and then if you want to take another San Francisco outfielder, if you want to take Longoria and Davis, put Davis or Longoria in your utility spot, or you can play Peralta, another guy in outfield. So you've got a couple options there. So thanks for watching. I'm Gorilla31. I said, if you want more information on FSi DFS, check out the description video. All the information is there. Check out our NASCAR video today. We've got a ton of things going on. We got an NFL preseason. We've got PGA going on this weekend too. So many things going on coming up. So just check us out. Great pricing. Lots of opportunities for you to get some help and make some money in DFS. So if you have any questions, put them in the chat below. We'll try to get back to you with some answers. You can hit me up at Twitter at Megalower31. Please like the video if it helped you. Share with your friends so it can help them also. And subscribe to our channel so you know when all our videos are coming out. So good luck today in your contest, and we'll see you next time.